It's currently on.
Is it on?
It's on.
Are you turning it on?
Why are you shuffling them?
Is it in yet? You ever heard that? Is it in yet?
Never heard that.
No, I've never heard that either. These are trash.
These are trash. It's got our picture on it, though.
They always have our picture on it.
It's like a driver's license. Look at that.
Podcast episode 85. Today is what, Wednesday?
I believe it is.
Today is Wednesday, 5/14.
77 degrees again. Your temperature's been kind
April
of constant.
17th. Yeah, it's but the thunderstorm's coming in.
Oh,
man.
of course.
It's fucking dark outside.
It'll be Thursday, Friday, Saturday,
I got
Sunday. And it's Easter this weekend, so there'll be some shenanigans.
Somebody named Wendy Reshit.
Oh, she sends you a picture of her boobs?
No.
No.
We posted those chub bags, and she was like, I would love one, but what the heck makes them so pricey? I'm like, well, you're welcome to fucking drive here and sew the motherfucker yourself. Oh my god, you can't talk to me that way. I'm a customer. I have a tool bag. Oh my god. Well, bitch, you didn't fucking start off with, hey, I have a tool bag. What makes this so much more expensive than the tool bag? That's not what you said. So she got ass hurt. Some dude's like, I've never bought anything from you guys, and I'm never going to now. No, you fucking cunt. We know you're not going to. You didn't even know who the fuck we were. Not her. The dude is the little cunt. And then there's another fucking little bitch on there going, you would do much better if you didn't talk to customers, and on and on and on. I'm like, you'd do much better if you'd fucking clean that shitty looking couch in that fucking trailer you're living in. Like, literally, he has a bunch of, like, random guns, you know. I don't even, like, nothing that's like, oh, that's a fucking cool gun, you know. It's like literally just guns. He went to the pawn shop and like, I'll take that gun and that gun and that, and threw them on this fucking dirty ass couch. And I'm like, why don't you go fucking do something and create something rather than worry about what the fuck I'm doing? He's like, I'll have you know. I'm pretty sure he actually said that. I'll have you know that I graduated high school and I've been in a 6-year program in college. My major is business management with a focus on entrepreneurship. I go,
6 years.
Entrepreneurship? I go, you could have used 6 years starting a fucking business. Yeah. And he came back with, I only have a year and a half left. I go, motherfucker. He goes, I'm just trying to give you helpful business advice. I go, you're giving business advice to a dude who has run a company for fucking 25 plus years. Yeah. I literally pay more in taxes every fucking week than you have ever made in an entire year of your life. Like, we just give that to the fucking IRS, probably in less than a fucking week. I don't get these motherfuckers. Like, do you really believe your bullshit? And I told him, I go,
he does. Well,
I go, do yourself a favor and listen to the EMF CEO podcast.
I would say, for him, the example for him is he does believe it. Because
he probably does.
Because he went from high school.
Because he's fucking social justice warrior.
I mean, but not even that. You
think brainwashed.
You think about that. Yeah, he went from high school. He went to college. He's having these professors.
He's made no money and now owes fucking $100,000 debt.
He's listening to these professors who have never
done anything.
Run a business, that live off the taxpayers' dole. And they're telling him these things, and so yes, it's just like every social justice warrior who comes out of college. They believe it. They fucking believe it, even though they know in their heart. That's why they have to. That's like when as soon as you see any of them like speak to somebody who knows what they're talking about, you'll see they'll start screaming or raising their voices or running around in circles because
like the crazy bald bitch with the tattoo on her ear.
Yeah, because you see how quickly that house of cards that they built is coming apart, and they can't have that come apart because it's their complete identity. I mean, I honestly, I feel sorry for them. I really do feel sorry for them because they're going to get crushed. It doesn't matter what you go ahead and elect Bernie Sanders, you're still going to get crushed. You're going to get eaten by your own.
So then I got an email from a dude who had ordered. So he has ordered a wrapped EDC belt.
Okay.
Ordered the wrapped EDC belt. And then proceeds to send me emails like every fucking week about this EDC belt. The order's months old. It's been sitting there. I'm the one that builds them. So I'm like, hey man, I'm the one that builds these. I don't know when I'm going to get around to these. I'm going to go ahead and cancel and refund your order. That's like, it's because you fucking keep emailing me and you're a pain in the ass, and the other 20 dudes that have them on order haven't said a fucking word. I actually sit down and build them. I don't know, every few weeks on a weekend or something, I'll build a few of them. You guys see photos of them when I build them. I take them out on the fence and take a picture in the sunlight. They're nice. But really, those are customers like, The first thing I do when this dude starts emailing and I recognize that he's been emailing me a lot is I look at his orders. He's ordered nothing but this belt. So I cancel and refund him, and he sends me this fucking email about, oh man, I really wanted this belt. Well, no, you're just impatient. I get you really wanted it, but emailing me repetitively is going to get you fucking nowhere ever. So we've canceled and refunded him. Washed my hands of it. We're done with it. The dude emails today. This I don't know. This was months ago. The dude emails today. He's like, hey, I ordered a belt. John said you guys weren't building them anymore, but I saw them online again. I never took them offline. I saw them online again. And I went ahead and ordered this, but I don't want to wait, 90 days just to have John cancel it again. I go, okay, good news, canceled and refunded. And he sends me this long fucking, I guess we're just not meant to do business, and you should take that offline. Like this whole fucking 4 or 5 paragraph, like he likes to talk a lot.
That's not even your decision. You that's the problem. You think it's your decision on whether or not you're going to do business here. It's John's decision.
Actually, it is most guys' decision. But once you have my attention and I've canceled your order, see, the thing is, 10% of your customers take 80% of your time. In firing that, the other guys that have those things on order, they're going to get them. But I just replied back to a couple of his little. I replied back in bullet points. He fucking literally 500 words. And I just said. I said, you're not going to do business. I go, you've never done business. I canceled and refunded you because you continued to fucking email and ask the same fucking questions after I told you that I didn't know when it was going to happen. So finally, I was done with you. What'd you do? You went and fucking reordered it again. And he goes on and on and on and on and on. But that's the deal. Which
would have been fine if he would have just shut up.
If he'd have just shut up.
It and let it happen.
If you'd have just shut the fuck up. We already did this once.
Then you would have got your
Here
belt.
we are doing it again. You jumped right back into the same thing after I fucking let you out of the fucking... I released you of it. And I said, you're never going to get one. I go, the deal is, I actually do make these. I build them for fucking customers that can fucking sit and wait. Or customers that have fucking ordered. Had you been a dude that asked about that shit, and I looked at your order and you had 100 orders, I might would have fucking sat down and built it this weekend. When I did yours, I'd do whatever other fucking 5, 6 of them had the same color. I get it. You're upset. You're not going to do business. We know you're not going to do business. You didn't do any fucking business in the interim. When you have a dude that places an order, and I get it. If I had some $1,000 thing I ordered someplace, I don't know that I would order more things before receiving my $1,000 thing. But the reality is, most dudes that order items that are no ETA or we don't know when we're going to build them, they still place a fucking order and another order and another order and another order. Those dudes that are waiting for that thing got 10 more orders while they were waiting for it and they still don't have it. You don't want to do business like that? I'm okay with that. I get it. I don't need your fucking email advising me on how to do business. If you think that it's such a bad business practice or you think you can do better, go fucking do it. Go do it. There's tons of fucking nylon guys popping up, and there's tons of guys fucking disappearing. There is room for you in the market if you think you can build what we build. You will find, though,
good luck. You
cannot build what we build. That's why dudes don't build what we build. Guy, there's nobody out there building mag pouches like our mag pouches because it's too labor intensive. For a dude to come in under normal business principles, he would have to charge $100 for that fucking mag pouch. You can't fucking do it. That's why we don't build a fucking 1,000 of them. We hit it, quit it, on to the next thing. We build fucking 20 of them. And then that's the other thing guys get all fucking crazy about. Man, you just put these pictures up and they're gone. Why don't you hire some? That's the other thing he said. That's what really set it off is you should hire some more people. And he alluded to listening to our podcast and shit. And then when he came back finally, he's like, I listen to all your podcasts. I'm on Instagram. I'm not on Facebook. I watch you on YouTube. So he listens to the podcast, listens to them on YouTube. But you thought it was wise to tell me I should hire more people. Like, we have spoken about that fucking hundreds of times, probably just on the podcast. So,
which means he's not really listening. He's putting our red shirt on.
He's dumb.
He's just putting the red shirt on.
It actually means he's fucking an idiot.
He's not really listening to the podcast.
But in the end, you're not getting that belt ever. Like, because I locked your account. So you're a bitch. I mean, I know what you'll do. You'll go make another account and you'll try to
make a fake account.
I'll tell you though, when you make a fake account under a fake name, your mom's name, you have your girlfriend order, whatever it is, just shut the fuck up. You'll actually get it eventually. Or don't order it if you're in a hurry. You seem to be the hurry guy. I understand that. But while you're mad about fucking us not hurrying up and building your shit, there's fucking 400 dudes that are not saying shit about it that'll get their shit. The same product you ordered, the wrapped EDC belt. So, this is from yesterday's. Speaking of UFO secret aircraft thing, about a year, maybe 18 months after the stealth Blackhawk became public knowledge, I swear I saw a stealth Chinook flying at night over Colorado. Can't be positive because it was night, but it was definitely a rotor aircraft. Pretty sure it had 2 rotors, all black, and was oddly quiet. Y'all know of any such tech being developed? I don't see why they wouldn't if they built a stealth Blackhawk. I don't know shit about that.
Well, with the Chinook, it could have just been altitude, because, the Chinooks are pretty big. Or maybe you saw 46. 46 will be quieter than a Chinook, and at night they would kind of look similar. Most of the Chinooks, the Army Chinooks, are a hard olive drab, a very hard olive drab. So at night they would look black. Would it surprise me if they made a Chinook ninja'd out? As far as I know, the only other aircraft that they've ninja'd out is the CH-53s, the Pavlo helicopters, because of the speed and the amount.
One?
Yeah, it's the Air Force
or Marine one.
Well, the Marines don't have any of the Pavlo versions. We just have regular CH-53s, but
same bird though.
Same bird, but they ninja them out. It's got all the fucking high tech in it and everything.
But that'd be the president's helicopter.
No, the president actually uses a fucking helicopter from the 50s.
Oh.
That helicopter is the helicopter that the president, well, outside of the Blackhawks, the helicopter that you always see landing on the South Lawn is a Navy helicopter from maybe not the 50s, it's probably the 60s, but it's old.
What is your guys' opinion on the Yellow Vest movement in France, and why do you think it hasn't been in USA media very much? Love the podcast. Keep up the great content.
Well, it hasn't been in the media much because it's anti-establishment. The media
they don't want to give you guys ideas.
Yeah, they want you to, this is what they want you to do. They want you to put pink hats on. They want you to form up in an orderly fashion. They want you to march through the streets. They want you to throw all your signs on the ground and your fucking latte coffees and then go home. That's what they want you to do. So you are doing what they want you to do. They don't want you to get the ideas that you can shut shit down, because unlike France,
because we'll eat them.
Yeah, unlike France, it would not take a lot. It would not take a lot to shut things down. I mean, we talk about the automation of fucking trucks and shit, right? Well, if they start rolling those trucks out, how long is it going to be before the truckers just start parking all their trucks on the fucking freeway?
Not only that, people hijack trucks all the time.
Yeah.
Fucking imagine hijacking an unmanned truck.
A truck that's fucking just a drone. But they really don't want us. They really don't want us moving around at that level where you're actually shutting down commerce. France, the fuck do the French do? They eat, they sleep, they surrender all the time. So there's really not much commerce interruption for the Yellow Vest to do. Now, they did recently deploy the army. The army is actually out there now with guns. I don't know if they've killed anybody yet, but it's probably only a matter of time before they start shooting people in yellow vests. And I think it's kind of waning down. The smart play on the government.
I would think that the yellow vest people probably are out of rent money.
Probably. The smart play for any government when the situation like that happens, especially a Western government, is to just wait it out. Hold on as long as you can, and wait for them to get, wait for their fucking internet service to turn off and their lights to turn off in their house, and eventually most people will just go back to work. So I just think they don't want us getting any ideas over here.
I'll ask you something that I haven't seen mentioned in here yet, because I saw a bunch of it I saw some of it on Facebook yesterday, and Spearco actually did a live feed. I actually watched and commented on Spearco's video yesterday. Notre Dame
Notre Dame
burning down. A lot of dudes up in arms saying the Muslims are saying it was a Muslim that did it. It has to be the Muslims. Of course the Muslims are smiling about that shit. They want the country to fucking burn down so they can do what they want to do. Typically, that's shit on the ground, and not all Muslims, but I mean, talking about the Muslims that are in France that have been brought in. Where were they brought from? Those dudes were shitting on ground. They were living in fucking shants, like fucking sheds and lean-tos against actual houses and shit, right? Of course they want that. But to start a big, Muslims did it, we need to to start that shit right now, now's not the time to start that shit. I don't know, maybe it is if you're in France, but there's a bunch of dudes here in the United States screaming that shit. Maybe the time will come where you guys have had enough and something will be done about that. But we don't know that it was a Muslim that burnt that down. That I heard that fire started way up in the spire where it was very secured. You couldn't get to it. Nobody fucking threw some road flares in there. That fire started up high. It didn't start where the fucking tours were or anything. And everybody has come out and said that it was, I believe it was a worker that did that. Of course, maybe they covered it up. They'd look kind of silly if they let all these Muslims in and a fucking group of them burnt their fucking...
Police said it was an accident.
Police said it was an accident. They're saying 100 years to rebuild. But I see a lot of fucking
They already
dudes.
got $100 billion.
Really?
They already got I'm sorry, I said billion. They already got $100 million in pledge money to rebuild it. That fucking thing's going
to touch it these days.
Oh, man. That thing's
100 years. But
it'll be rebuilt in 60.
But everybody's screaming about that shit. Like, you dudes on the internet screaming about that. And I'm sure dudes that watch us are part of it. Because it was groups that I'm in where I saw it. Is it directly affecting you? Like, you spent a lot of time last night on Facebook groups and making memes and all this shit, right? Number one, is it affecting you? Is it helping you in any positive way? Have a group of Muslims taken something away from you? Did you lose your job because of it? Are you inconvenienced because of them, because they're close to you? These are real questions, like legitimate questions. And number four, what the fuck are you going to do about it? I mean, you're on Facebook talking big. Are you doing something about it, or are we just doing this? Because a lot of the same dudes are spending a lot of fucking time starting shit and talking shit and poking and prodding. Go do something fucking good with your lives. Like, go fucking do something good with your lives. If I see you only when you're talking shit, I don't need you in my fucking life. I've got real shit to do. Like, we make a fucking video all day long of what we fucking do. Like, we're legitimately doing shit. If you guys got time to poke and prod and talk shit on Facebook, get a goddamn hobby. Go start a fucking another business. I mean, I realize you guys have 8 to 5 jobs or whatever, but go do something fucking real. Some of you have kids. Why don't you spend that time with your fucking children? Like, just go do something, man. Stop the fucking bullshit.
I had to comment last night on there's a picture that's going around on Facebook it's
like 5 Hajis in the fire in the background.
They may not even be Muslims. It's 2 guys. They're lifting up the caution tape. They're coming from the fire, so you can see the fire in the background.
I'm talking about.
They're lifting the caution tape up, and they're going over, and both of them are smiling, right?
Coming from the fire.
Yeah, coming from the fire. And both of them are smiling. And there is just this whole diatribe.
It's got to be them.
But I mean, the whole diatribe of just blah, 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 they're just going off. And I'm like, I go, look, guys, I don't ever comment on shit, but I'm like, look, guys, I'm no fan of that cult.
That's exactly what I was just about to say.
I'm no fan of the cult of the Middle East, but you don't know context. One of those guys might have just farted. This is silly to take a picture and then you come up with this whole fucking diatribe about, oh, they had to be it has to be them because they're smiling. It's ridiculous.
Not to mention, man, like how many times in the last couple of years have we seen stuff like this go on? And I've even jumped on board some of it myself. How many times have we seen something like this happen? And then fucking a couple months later, you see that the picture that they showed you was this, but there's actually this much picture. Like the kid on the ground with a fucking army boot on his head, right? Yeah, when you see the real photo, the kid took and fucking his boot was on his hand. Like he made the photo. Like they cropped that shit. How many times have we seen the same photo used in different places? Like you don't know, but you guys just invested a whole fucking evening of your life on some shit that you're never going to see, smell, or touch.
And here's something interesting that just dawned on me. I was just thinking about this, We just talked about the yellow vests. What you can say when you're in Europe, because it's the European Union, what you can say and post on the internet is restricted. So it's restricted what you can say and post on there. So a lot of the comments that people were making last night would be illegal in those countries. You couldn't make those arbitrary statements against Muslims in France. You can't do that. They will come to your house and arrest you. So people that have issues, so people that want to apostatize, people that want to get out and fucking spread the word, they actually have to get out and spread the word. So they have to get out and go do something. I think the internet is really very valuable in keeping our government in power, in the sense that we have a bunch of us. Well, they can monitor us, but think about it. You have all these people that get on the internet and go, fuck the government, fuck this, fuck that. Whatever your cause is, you get on the internet and you say, I'm for transgender rights, fuck the government, fuck Trump. You get that shit off your chest on the internet, and you never go out to the streets.
I call the little earthquakes, so you never have the big ones.
You never go out to the streets.
Scully, do you have a ham license?
I do not have a ham license. I don't need it.
Do you have any ham radios?
I don't have any ham radios.
Do you have radios that talk to my ham radios?
I have all the radios. HF, VHF.
Can we talk on any of your radios from here to your house?
Oh yeah.
What size mast do we need?
6-foot whip on the.
With just a 6-foot whip, we can talk
HF.
from here to there.
No problem.
What do you got? Like a 119 or something?
No, I bought all the Klansman radio sets.
Tell them what Klansman is.
Klansman is the British radio that they use.
Because they just heard KKK.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Klansman is the British radio that they used from the 70s all the way up to the 90s. So it's one of the most robust radio systems that's out on the market that you can get. So it's all military hard ruggedized radio systems, which means it's bigger than your fucking classic put in your pocket ham radio. But I can cover all frequencies. So, I listen every now and then. I'll put the HF system up, and I'll listen to the clock in Kansas City, or the weather station. I can transmit. I can do anything I want on any of them frequencies. I don't need to be part of the ham club. When I'm going to use those radios, I'm going to use them the way I want to use them, and I'm not worried about a dude with a boop boop boop. I'm coming to find you because you're not using your ham radio. I'm going to use all military encryption stuff anyway. So you're not even going to be thinking about that.
Let me tell you too, all the ham guys. Ham guys, know how to use their shit like real. Ham guys.
Real ham.
I am not a real ham guy. I have a lot of ham radios. I have a lot of Yaesu shit, like real Yaesu shit, not the Baofeng. I've got Baofeng stuff also for the kids to fuck with. I've got a bunch of rugged radios. It's a company, it's a brand. Look them up. They do a bunch of race gear, PCI, and rugged radio. I've got VHF stuff because it will move distance, right? UHF punches through stuff, but not as far. VHF moves as far, but doesn't punch through stuff. We got them for the trucks to talk truck to truck, razor to truck. We've got intercom systems in the 4-seat and the 2-seat, and then we have VHF so we can talk vehicle to vehicle and then back to base and stuff like that. We have all that. We also have a bunch of ham radio shit. I do not spend enough time using that ham radio shit, so sometimes I can plug in the same frequencies and talk radio to radio. But every now and then my radio does some weird shit. Like, you have to really know that stuff. Those buttons do 20 different things. You have to fucking use them. All you guys that bought some ham radio shit and got your no-code test or whatever, if you're not using that shit all the time, especially when you really need it, you're not going to be able to use it, especially when you really need it. When it's cold and you're tired and you're hungry and it's fucking wet and you have gloves on, if you don't know that shit in and out, inside and out, you're not going to be able to use it. And if something happens to you, your wife's not going to know how to use it anyways. So while that stuff's awesome, and I'm not saying don't go get it, have something fucking straight fucking radio to radio as well that you can use. And then as far as like when the time comes to really use that shit, they're going to find you when you're using that shit. So just be aware of that.
I have so that's kind of why I went with all the military radios, because it's a lot easier. It's pretty much plug and play.
It's more like a walkie-talkie.
Yeah, it's more like a walkie-talkie. Frequencies are easy to put in, shit like that. And if you can I mean, I know all ham operators are going to be like, yeah, that's simple, but you can displace your radio so you're not transmitting from the point of your radio and shit like that. So there's ways to get around it. So they just blow up a pine tree in the middle of the forest instead of you on the radio. But the military stuff is just the easiest for me because that's what I'm familiar with. So I don't play with any of that other stuff. And I'm using, I got into it because of the military.
And Rugged Radio makes them, you don't have to use them for just vehicle. I've got handy talkies, Verdicts. They sell Verdicts radios. I've got a bunch of those. And then they make a backpack kit too that goes into a helmet kit. So I can have a push to talk on my handlebar and still comm to bike, bike to razor, bike to base, whatever I want to do with it. Skully, end of times are here. One gun. What do you grab? I'm going to try and come up with random questions like this to keep the podcast going.
I won't grab one gun. I'll grab three. That's just the way it's going to be. I'm going to grab a 1911. I'm going to grab it's actually the Kimber Warrior that my guys got. My last platoon got me as a going away gift.
Musoc pistol, basically.
Yeah, it's basically a Musoc pistol. I'm going to grab the Kimber Warrior. I'm going to grab my M40A1. That's going to go on my back, and then I'm going to have an AR-15. I'll have all three of those guns, and I'll have 17 AR-15 mags. I'll have 180 rounds for the M40, and I'll have for the 1911. I am really just carrying that for nostalgia. If you think you need a pistol, what you really need is more magazines for your rifle. So I'll probably only have about 4 mags for the pistol, because when you gotta do these, a pistol's better than an AR-15.
What's going to differentiate between taking a long gun, a bolt gun shot, or an AR shot?
The bolt gun shots are always going to be offensive in nature, meaning
targets of opportunity.
Well, it'll be targets that I've selected. So if I'm going to pull the bolt gun out, it's a target that I've selected versus a chance contact on the battlefield. Contact will be AR-15.
What might that be?
Well, it depends on the.
Okay.
It depends on the scenario.
I'll let you not answer.
Yeah, it depends on the scenario.
Okay.
I can't really.
Okay. Good shit, guys. I planted some fruit trees last weekend. Going to add a few each payday. Good, man.
Yeah.
Also, working on cleaning out my pond to stock it next spring. Working toward goals. My cheese wheel. That's that dude. Very cool. I'd like to hear what you're doing with the pond. We've got a pond we put in. We've got a water hole in the back, literally a water hole, which is at a low point of the property, so it's always full. And it is teeming with way more life than the big one up top. Although the big one up top wasn't really designed with holding a bunch of life. It's 30 feet deep. It holds a lot of water.
You know what we should throw in there is a couple catfish.
Yeah, they would do.
I
wouldn't be surprised if there's catfish in there at this point.
Catfish would do well.
There's fish in there. There's a ton of fish. There's fucking frogs. There's snakes in there. I'm
just amazed because the stream in front of my house, it's always running. It's got flow. And I go down there all the time, and there'll just be these. There's 3 spots on my property where it slows down, and there's fish in there, and I'm like,
you know why?
Fuck,
you know what happens?
Yeah, they come out of overflow. Yeah,
it just washes them for miles, man. When that water starts running. What kind of trees did you put in? We put in 2 cherry and 2 apple trees yesterday. We had them crash. I'll tell you this. So guys all the time are like, I'm coming to the party, man. I'm gonna come a couple days and I'm gonna help you guys work on the property. What do you need done? That's awesome. What you guys don't realize is that means that Jeff or myself have to supervise you, unless you're an arborist or unless you're a landscaper or unless you're John Dunn, because you don't know what you don't know, and I as well didn't know. So a couple of years ago, I bought all these fruit trees, and you said you're going to buy trees every payday. That's fucking awesome. As the time goes on, and it's past, right now is prime tree planting season. You want to plant them right now, or you want to plant them when it's fucking frozen, just before it freezes. Because they're going to be dormant. All the leaves are off the tree. All the energy is sucked back down into the stalk and the root, the main trunk, right? So they're going to sit there dormant and do nothing until it warms up. Then they're going to come teeming with life. Or right now, before it's extreme heat. because as soon as it's hot and you plant that tree, you're gonna shock the fuck out of it and it's gonna fucking die. Like we've done that. We plant trees all year long, even when you're not supposed to, and we're like, oh man, that tree's dead. But miraculous, like we put in fucking, there's 100 so blueberries on the property now. We put them in kind of like, Jeff's like, hey, we need to plant those trees. I'm like, yeah, we'll do it tomorrow. Yeah, we'll do it tomorrow. Yeah, we'll do it tomorrow. And then one day, fucking tomorrow is 3 months later, and it's fucking 105 degrees outside. Like, Chef almost died when we were planting blueberries. So he's like, come on, I'll help you. I'm like, you go the fuck, get in your car, turn the air conditioner on. So we start digging, and you can't dig here. Like, we have ruined, how many shovels have we fucking destroyed? A dozen of them. When we go buy shovels, we buy 12 shovels. Like, when we go to Lowe's and they've got those cobalt blue shovels with the big piece where your foot goes, which saves your shoe. We've destroyed fucking shoes. You really need to be wearing boots when you're shoveling. There's some technique to it. Take your kids out and just have them dig fucking holes. Teach them to dig holes. It's something they'll know how to do the rest of their life when they have to do it. So we plant, so we couldn't dig. Like, we have spots where we want this shit. You cannot dig. So we brought in an excavator. We have slate, like slate. Layers of slate, like big, like you could chunk this bitch and fucking pave a floor with it. We have so much slate. Yeah. Well, we dug it out and put dirt in those holes, and we planted shit, probably, and it goes against all reason. Like, you shouldn't be doing that. It's going to hold water. You're not going to have enough dirt. You're going to have too much dirt. Well, we didn't know. I thought because it was big, it was a fucking hard area, we dug a hole 6 feet by 6 feet by 6 feet. You could stand in that bitch. And then we fucking put real dirt in it. Well,
brought in real dirt.
Brought in real dirt and mulch and fucking catfish pond dirt. And it was awesome, right? Everything's perfect. What I didn't take into account is that we basically cut a stone box and put all this stuff in it. So when it rained or when water ran over it, we made quicksand. Some of the trees down by the road, all the trees died because that's basically what it was. That was the low point, and the water ran there, and it just fucking soaked this. They rotted out. Well, 2 years later now, most of the trees have made it, and they fucking have produced amazing. But we had some that just like never really took off, and this year they're dead. So Cody and I are like, okay, well, let's go take those spots. They're higher up on the property. That's not what the problem was. When we pulled them out, they're dead. They should just pull out. Cody's like, I can't get this fucking thing out. I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm pulling on it. He does some pulling. We're moving it around. We're talking about a tree that's maybe 2 inches around at this point. So when we planted it, it has definitely grown. What we found when we pulled them out, and I have photos of it, and I have it on video. Gabby's doing a video right now of it. When you plant a tree, where the tree comes out of the pot, it's got like that knot right there where the roots start coming. Those roots should be just on the surface. You want to plant the roots underground, no more of the tree. We pulled 20 inches of fucking tree out. 20 inches of those tree were underground. What happened? They rotted. They literally, the stalk of the tree rotted, and it had actually ants or termites or something had fucking just eaten the wood away and shit. And that's what happened to those fucking trees. We had dudes on the property. We're like, hey, I'll plant these trees. They did. They planted them. And then they fucking buried them in, and they planted them too deep, and the tree just died. It took a year and a half for them to die, all the way. Well, they died before that, but everything had its leaves off, so we didn't know until that one didn't put leaves back on. But there was 4 of them, and 2 of them, I've got photos of it and everything. We got a video on it, so know how to plant them. If you've got people working with you, really when dudes come to help us, unless it's just like, grunt labor, it's really more work for us to have people help us. Like a dude coming to help 1 or 2 days, it doesn't help us.
John will do that all the time. I'll be out there doing something. I'll like move a railroad tie or something, and he'll be like, "You got guys? Why don't you use the guys?" I'm like,
for a railroad tie, that'd be perfect though.
I'm like, I am already done.
Like when
I am already done. If I would have went in there and been like, okay, come on guys, let's go. We're gonna go do this. There would have been some shoes that had to be changed. There would be some fucking gloves that had to be found. It would have been 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I'm already done. A lot of times it's just easier to just fucking do it.
You want to come here and help? I got wheelbarrows. I got 20 dump trucks worth of mulch that needs to be moved. We will give you a wheelbarrow and a shovel to move it. What about the tractor? No. If you want to come volunteer, that's what we got. So the fruit trees, good on you, man. Truly hope you don't stop these videos at 100. Far more interesting content than cable TV offers. Question about Acre armor going to hell.
Ares armor?
Oh, Ares armor. I really wanted that fancy backpack rig they had once upon a time. Allowed for fast armor and weapon access, if I recall correctly. Did you acquire one? Really intriguing piece of gear for the time it was made. Thanks for the great stories and advice. You help keep me above ground, gentlemen.
Laura, what are you doing?
What are you talking about?
That's her name, Laura, isn't it?
Laura Bradshaw.
Laura Bradshaw.
What you're talking about, if it's the backpack they made that I saw, it was just our bolt bag with a couple mag pouches on the top. That's all it was. It was a little tiny ass backpack that went on the back of armor. It didn't have armor in it.
There's that company, that offshoot of that company, the owner of that company is actually in Arizona now, and that's exclusively what he's doing is backpacks. I think there's 3 different models.
Who is it?
I don't know the guy's name, and I don't even know the name of the company. I'll find out what it is and then see if they still make it. I don't know if they're still making it.
Isn't Tier Tactical?
I don't know. I don't know
Who
what that
was
is.
part of Diamondback back in the day.
No, it's not. That's not. He's not. This guy is a. This guy that took over Ares Armory and screwed it up was a total. He came from the financial world, didn't know shit about the industry, but was just like, hey, if you throw a bunch of money on this and then we do all this stuff, we're gonna make all this money. And it's like, no, that's not how the gun world works, bro. It doesn't work that way.
You can't come into if you're in this for the money. It's not.
It doesn't work that way. And so yeah, they clonked.
Is that the dude that's in Arizona now?
Mm-hmm. That's
the money guy.
The money guy's in Arizona, and he just does nylon gear
because it's easier to fucking market to fucking granola eaters.
Probably
because they don't eat meat, and they don't drive gasoline vehicles, so they have expendable income. Appreciate and they don't really live in houses. They like tents and hammocks.
Yeah, tents and hammocks.
Appreciate the time and effort you guys put into doing the podcast. Your efforts don't go unnoticed. Wanted to say thanks. And I make sure to spread the word about the equipment and podcast when I can.
Well, thank you very much.
Guys, if you like the podcasts when you hear them, if there's something you want that you fucking post it on your social media. Like, take a link to the podcast and put it on your Facebook page and tell them, hey, skip to minute 14 and listen to this. This is what they're talking about. Fucking send some traffic to us if you like it. Skully, you're all right. But you are seriously wrong about the 1911s and Glock. 1911s are supermodels, great to show off and play with, and Glocks are chicks that stand behind you when the chips are down and you can count on. I like 1911s, I carry, and I rely on Glock 17s. Glock's only problem, their model numbers make no sense. John, I know you say chicken is for poor people food, but I smoke a mean chicken on my indirect wood smoker.
Let's just get right to the
Ken
meat.
Schmidt. Then fucking come on and bring your smoker and some chicken and show up. What's today? Wednesday? Friday'd be a good day. Be here Friday and we'll eat smoked chicken.
No. Do not come on Friday. You need to come either Monday through Thursday of next week.
Because tri-tip?
Yeah, tri-tip's on Friday. Don't you dare fuck up tri-tip with some bullshit chicken. First off.
Hey, this is gonna be
how
a minute.
far,
I gotta go pee.
How far are we gonna go with this whole 1911 Glock shit? Glock. I get it. You guys, you young kids, you feel like you can't use dad's tools. You gotta come out with your own tools. Look, man, every kid wants to play with Tupperware. It's the fucking piece of Tupperware with a brick on top of it. So it's not like the good girl that stands behind you ready to fight. It's more like the fat girl. I know you like them chubby girls. There's nothing wrong with liking chubby girls. But if you want to do some killing, you got to do it with the 1911. It's why everybody goes to the Glock 19 to the Glock 17. I can have 32 rounds in a magazine. I get it, because one, you don't hit your target, and two, your shot placement sucks. So I get it, man. And the reality is, if you just did some wrist work, you'd be able to handle that 45 caliber bullet. I don't care what gun you guys shoot. I just like giving you young kids a hard time because you're so infatuated with the short, fat black gun that just makes it amazing. I mean, right now I'm doing most of my shooting with a Glock 34. I'm not sure I like it yet. I'm not sure that I like the Glock 34, but John Wick ran around with it for a little bit. I got to try some John Wick shit, but you realize that he moved back to a 45 because he was shooting those guys so many. He's like, what the fuck, man? I got to use so much ammo. I got to fire so much ammo to get these guys. I might as well go back to a 1911. I also, I carry a Glock 30. Well, I have tiers to weapon systems. It's kind of crazy, but I have I carry the Glock 30, Glock 36, and then a Glock 41. I think it is. So those are all 45s.
What about 21?
I don't,
Do they make a 21 still?
Yeah, the 21's still out there. I have a 21, but it kind of doesn't fit in that. It kind of doesn't fit there because once I go to the 41, I'm just a little bit bigger than the 21, and I feel like it fits in my hand a lot better.
So they make a Glock 41 that's a 45 and is bigger than a 21?
Yeah, so are you familiar with the 34 in the 9mm? So
no, I know 1917.
Well, the Glock that John Wick carries in the first movie.
That's a Terran Tactical.
That's a Terran Tactical. Those are
Terran
Tactical. Those are all what they call Glock 34s. It's like a 17. 17 is 17 the big one? It's like a 17, but it's a little bit longer. It's about an inch, maybe an inch and a half longer. Same thing with the 41. The 41 is about an inch and a half longer than the 21. It just handles, for me, it seems like it handles a little bit better. It doesn't have as much whip that the 21 does. So while I have the 21, because I bought that for the Chris Vector, right? Because if you're going to have those magazines will go in the Chris Vector, so you have compatible weapon systems. But I tend to shoot the 41 more. Anyways, that was a long diatribe on why Glocks suck, because they all suck.
Chris Vector is on our 45 shirt. Our 9mm shirt came out yesterday. We haven't even put it on all the social media yet. I would like to train with Turan, but I'm worried that he's just going to explode before I get to do it. Turan needs a trainer. Turan needs an intervention. Like, I really want to train with him, but I don't think I don't think he's gonna make it long enough.
I don't know, man. He's hanging out with movie stars.
I know.
All his team shooters are hot chicks.
Keanu needs to be like, hey, bro, come on.
Let's go.
Intervention.
Let's go. Intervention.
Gym this morning. You, me, and Marky Mark.
I'm happy, Keanu, that you're out there that you're out there at least not trying to fake the funk.
Did you see the Navy SEAL video?
I have not seen
him
this.
CQB. The last one at Turan. It went up a couple weeks ago. It's the dude that opened a range. He's
I know who you're talking. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Franklin. It's supposed to be a badass range, but the dude's like, it's terrible. The instruction is fucking like, it's like Jaeger said. He goes, the block of instruction is all sound, but the presentation is just, and like, he's just pointing guns at Keanu. Like, I keep waiting. Like, he took that gun. Like, you never even saw him check it to see if it was clear. And it's like, fucking point. I'm like, here it goes. He's going to kill Keanu Reeves.
Can't kill Keanu. He's been around since the Civil War.
He's going to kill Terran.
He was bitten by a vampire from Europe. He will live forever.
After hearing you mention the Watchtowers again, I think you would really kick a kick out of Blue Plague series. Here is a link to book 1. I listened to the first and read the rest. Audible only has the first 2. Another great podcast. Keep up the great work and making the best gear. That Blue Plague, it must be a zombie thing or something.
Probably, yeah, some sort of.
Another great podcast. Keep up the great work, guys, and making the best gear in the world. Notre Dame lost its coveted spire in a fire. I think it lost everything at this point. Was it arson, accident, or act of God? I live 3 miles away from the University of Notre Dame here in South Bend, Indiana, and people are freaking out about it. Side note, our mayor is running for president. He plans on being the first openly gay president, but he has done nothing good for this city. Violent crime has skyrocketed. Money is being wasted on stupid bullshit. And for some fucked up reason, he thinks the city is doing better than it ever has.
The interesting thing about your mayor, I can't think of his name. I just heard about him running for president. Is he's going to get eaten alive. It's awesome I mean, it's awesome when you think that in today's society you can have a fucking, what do we got? We got a black woman, a gay man, a fucking a devout communist.
Who's the bitch with the towel around her head?
Oh, those are senators.
Right. Okay. So she's going on and on and on.
You can have two Muslims in Congress
saying how she's getting death threats. Like, where are these death threats at?
Yeah.
Why don't you publish them?
Publish those death threats. I believe her. I believe she's getting death threats. But what senator, what public figure is not getting death threats? So it's really awesome that these people have an opportunity to run for president. The reality is, his biggest downfall and the reason why he will not even be in the running for president is because he's still a white man, even though he's in a, probably I have no idea what kind of gay relationship he's in, but even though that he's got that identity, because remember, it's all about identity politics. No one is going to look at him when he goes to run for president and go, "What did you do for your city? Oh, your city sucks? Then probably we don't want you to be president." They're not doing that. It's all about identity politics. That is the reason why the gay mayor is running for president, because of his identity.
He won't even get to vote.
Well, because of
he won't even be able.
Yeah,
I was going to say because he'll steal all the gay voters.
But
really, he probably wouldn't.
Well, what's going to happen is, unfortunately, the Democrat Party is going to eat his fucking lunch because he's still a white man, and the Democratic Party right now is not going that way. They really want Kamala Harris to be their nomination. I don't know if I have a lot of problems with Kamala Harris. I don't know her politics. I do know that, if you're one of these lefty Democrats, she was pretty hard. She was pretty hard on criminals in California, guys. She was pretty hard. And Kamala Harris is married to a white dude. So does she fit within that gender politic issue? I think they're going to all have a hard time beating Bernie Sanders. Except what most people in the Democratic Party are not doing is they're all those...
Isn't Bernie Sanders like 90 years old?
Yes, he's the... Oh, God, he's too old. They're all attacking each other. The interesting thing is, if you pay attention to what's going on, is all those fucking identity politicians are all attacking each other, and Joe Biden is on the outside. Joe Biden is kind of on the outside going, and he's got 40% approval rating already.
Where's Ruth Bader Ginsburg?
She's dead.
Did they find her?
I don't know if they found her.
Have they replaced her?
They have definitely not replaced her.
So this dude says, so Notre Dame is in France, right?
It is in France, but the college, we have a Notre Dame college in Indiana.
Gotcha. So the Notre Dame that burned down, was that a college?
No, it is.
That's just a
church. It's just a cathedral. Yeah.
Got it. I would like to have. I mean, they don't have a use for those gargoyles now. I'd like to have those.
Yeah. Well, if you've seen any, you probably haven't.
I thought the place is destroyed.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not destroyed. Just the top tier burnt down, and a lot of that came down inside the actual cathedral. But if you've seen any of the pictures, your gargoyles probably don't exist anymore because there is a lot of statues that are smashed on the ground in the bottom of the in the actual cathedral. I mean, let's be realistic. They've fucking started making that thing in 1160. I am surprised that it's lasted as long as it. I mean, that wood was dried out, so it's a shame that it caught on fire and it's a shame that it burned down. But those French firefighters, they did everything they possibly could to save that fucking structure. A bunch of firefighters actually against orders ran into the church to bring out artifacts that were in the church. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that got saved because of those French firefighters.
Thoughts on Trump sending illegals to sanctuary cities?
It's a great idea. I honestly was thinking about this last week. I'm like, why don't we just ship them all to sanctuary cities? Because I heard a story about what they actually do with them, and I'm like, that kind of sucks for Texas. They should send them all to sanctuary cities. If you have a sanctuary city,
are we vaccinating them?
They should. No, fuck it. No, we don't vaccinate them when they release them in Texas.
That's what I'm talking about. We don't vaccinate them?
No, we don't vaccinate them. They should just release them all. They should.
Do we sterilize them?
No, we don't do anything. We just fucking give them a ham sandwich and say, come to your court date. So, yes, please, Mr. Trump.
What do you think would happen if we took fucking even 5,000 U.S. citizens and just threw them into Tijuana?
Tijuana's probably not far enough. It would have to be more Mexico City.
You don't think there'd be somebody there to fucking capture?
Oh,
kill
capture and rape. I don't know. They'd definitely be. I guarantee you there'd be a point where they'd be separating the girls from the men.
Ed'll know. Ed's manifesto. He'll know what will happen.
Yeah. I think Trump, if you don't send those buses to those sanctuary cities, that'll be worse than not building the wall. I would much rather. You could spend all the money you were going to spend on the wall to drop all those illegal immigrants in those sanctuary cities.
What do you think local law enforcement would do? You think they'd try to round them up right then? Or just let them...
I don't... see, here's the issue. You have all these liberal Democrats that are like, sanctuary city, we're not going to report. Their biggest problem would be if Trump does take them there and drop them off, and then they start rounding them up. That is a fucking news bite that Trump will just fucking use and destroy Democrats with. So, you had Cher came out and sided with the president, not in putting illegal immigrants in her sanctuary city, but she came out and said, we can't support illegal immigrants in our city anymore. We don't have the funding. We need to be taking care of our homeless and our veterans. Cher came out.
Homeless. How many homeless is she feeding?
Cher came out with a Republican talking point because Donald Trump threatened to put illegal immigrants in her city. It's just amazing how well he trolls he trolls the left. If you're on the left, you guys are fucking losing so bad it's unbelievable. At least in the troll area, because all Donald Trump is doing is exposing what fucking hypocrites you are and how full of shit you are about your policies.
503 equals SOE. Old school pager code, loving the podcast. It doesn't. That is not the case. AOC is batshit crazy. Why don't more people in Congress call her out on her bullshit? It's awesome to watch Senator Mike Lee go after the Green New Deal with the hilarious memes.
It's funny. I just heard this today. It's a it's a recording of Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi is talking to somebody on the Democratic chair committee or whatever. They're talking about how well they did in the elections. They're talking about how well they did. And this person keeps bringing up like AOC and, like that. And Nancy Pelosi says, that is totally not important and it is irrelevant because that was our district. She goes, this glass of water with a D on it would have won in that district. So she basically declared AOC a fucking dumb glass of water.
I came to your shop a month or so ago, bought like $300 worth of stuff. The guy that helped me is the guy in one of your product videos bouncing his tits. He isn't much of a model, but that motherfucker sold me all kinds of shit. Went in looking for a belt, left with the sling, belt, admin pouch, 2 shirts, and some tourniquets. I spoke to Skully, but I'm sure I came off as awkward. Was hoping to meet John as well, but I don't think he was on this. I didn't think he was on the sewing floor.
I was probably the awkward one. When people come in here to buy stuff, I don't want to sound mean, but I have to stand at that table and clip and cut these threads and burn these threads, and every minute that I am up here talking to somebody is a minute later in the day that's going to take to get that shit done and get photos of it and get it fucking shipped and all that stuff. And so I'm an asshole. I want to get the work done before I'm sitting around telling war stories. So chances are it was me that was making it awkward for you because I had something at the table I needed to get done.
Come back next time you're around, man. Can you please give the backstory on the combat cock? Seems like an interesting story. Yes, Gulf Gunner. Go to YouTube, search in combat cock. You'll find it. Skully, how did that shot work out for your mom? Do we know yet?
She, so far seems legit. Seems good. She says everything is copacetic. She has to stay in bed for 3 days though. So I'll have a better outlook on this week. But she said that she already feels better, and she's not wearing the fucking brace. So it had to have done something.
AOC is rocking the boat. Let me start. AOC is rocking the boat too much for the Democrats. They don't want her reelected. they are going to just let her keep on until next time and try to bury her.
Yeah, she's probably not. I mean, it just depends on the Democrats. You know, Nancy's probably going to live to be 120. It just depends on the Democrats. I highly doubt that the Democrats are not going to put somebody in there against her to run in that next election. It was a fluke. The reality is, she may turn out to be a good legislator if she shuts her fucking mouth and starts figuring out what it is they're doing.
And starts doing her actual job.
But the problem is, it was a fluke for her to be elected. It was not one of this miracle, oh, we wanted to elect this people of the people. The dude who ran that district did not... He wasn't even there. He never campaigned to run that district because he was like, I'm going to win that motherfucker anyways. She got 1,700 votes. It was a fluke. Chances, I mean, she's in there, and usually you have a better advantage if you already, because of name recognition, and we keep saying her name. Because of name recognition, you have a higher chance of being reelected. But I think the Democrats will crush her. I mean, they're not doing anything to help her out right now. They're not. They're letting her fucking just... They're letting her crash that, which doesn't make any sense, but that tells you what Democrats are like.
Seeing we went the conspiracy route a bit lately, thoughts on 9/11 Building 7 and burning of Notre Dame in Paris yesterday?
So far, the police in Paris are saying that it was completely an accident.
I did hear something about a bunch of church burnings, though. I believe.
Yeah,
there is 12 churches. The list keeps growing.
Yeah, they actually have a map of all the churches that have been vandalized, and it's pretty.
And they believe that is Muslim.
Yeah, I mean, you can't look at, man. You cannot take people from two completely different cultures and put them together and not think some shit's gonna happen. It's just gonna happen. And if you look at the Crusades, the Catholic Church, it was 170 years of Muslim encroachment before the Crusades started. So that's the problem with us Westerners. With Westerners, we're like, oh man, he's just had such a hard time. He's been living in the desert, fucking goats. We just need to bring him in here and he'll be fine. We'll put him over here in this area over here in the desert with some more goats and some more of his people. He don't care. He's still plotting and planning on how to fucking slit your throat. Because that is the ideology. That is in the Quran. Convert or die. That is your only option. And that is their only option. So we are going to have a problem. So a bunch of people have to get their head cut off before...
We've had some head cutting.
Yeah, but it hasn't been enough. Some real shit has to happen before Westerners will finally get off their ass and go, yeah, these people need to go back to the desert because they're just crazy.
All dark and mix of... we'll post the chocolate this afternoon from Switzerland.
Ooh.
All dark and a mix of chocolate manufactured in Netherlands, Germany, and Switzerland. Right on. Made in the mother... What is MITMCH? Made in the mother... I don't know what that is. Skully, you mentioned the Germans in World War II never did well against at the time, modern army. The French had more and better tanks at the start of World War II, from what I remember reading. But the German strategy, RE tanks, was much better and defeated the French relatively easy and quickly, bypassing the...
once again, remember I said
Plus, we're talking about the French.
Yeah, we are talking about the French. Remember I said a modern army... a completely modern army fighting in that time. The reason why the French, while the tank that the French had was a superior tank than the ones that the Germans were using when they marched across Paris, the Germans had changed the tactics of how tanks were used. The tank was the focus of the effort, and they were moving in multiple tanks. The French, on the other hand, were still in the World War I mentality. They still had this World War I mentality, and because they had that World War I mentality, the way tanks supported the French army was through individual tanks. So you had these tanks that, while they were superior, they were just cruising around by themselves. And as you know from World War II, a superior tank doesn't mean shit if you have more of a tank that's not superior. So a prime example is the German Panzer tank was better than the Sherman tank. but we could put 18 of them in the field when they can only put one Panzer in the field. So naturally, even if 2 or 3 shells are bouncing off that Panzer, and even if that Panzer's able to take out 10 fucking Shermans, I'm still going to win the day because I have 8 more tanks that are going to fucking keep blowing your ass up. And that's what happened to the French tanks. They had never massed those tanks to fight the Germans because they were still thinking World War I. They weren't thinking Blitzkrieg. So the Germans just outmaneuvered them, and which we would do, once we got to Europe, we'd do the same thing with the Sherman tank. The Sherman tank was a piece of shit compared to the German tanks. We were still using gasoline in our tanks. So the minute those fucking things caught on fire, they caught on motherfucking fire. Anyways, but that's why they just had more tanks and they were using them in mass.
Sometimes you just have to remember it's your time to go. Sorry, some of the simple wrecks seem to kill people, and that terrible wreck, they get up and walk away. It was just their time to go. Like in war, one guy gets hit with a round in the helmet and he is fine, maybe gets his bell rung. The next guy gets hit and he is dead.
It's you have no, whether you believe in God, you don't believe in God, no matter what. It's all about when it's your time. When it's your time, when it is your time, when the universe decides it's your time to go, there is nothing you can do about it. Helmet on, helmet off, when it's your time. You just don't want to be around when it's somebody else's, when some stupid dude, and it's his time, because you might lose your legs or whatever. So when it's your time, there's nothing you can do about it.
To anyone looking to buy rental property or empty lots, I have both, and they are easy to buy cash money. I go to the town and county tax auctions. You'll be surprised what you can get for cheap as hell. There are the fucktards that like to tell you it's not a good idea, but don't listen to them. I'm not rich, but I live an okay life because of what I'm telling you. I promise you, my full-time job doesn't pay the greatest either. It's only getting better as I go. Keep up the good work, John Skully.
Yeah, keep buying that property, man. That's the one thing they're not making any more of is land. Until we start putting condominiums on the moon, you might want to look into that. See if we can start, buying some space on the moon.
I probably missed you saying the reason, but why did the county cut the trees on your property by the road? So, the roadside property, the front is a cliff. Like, some of it you couldn't even get up. No. You can't go up at all. Pine trees grew there. Wind-blown pine trees over the years have grown there. They're growing fucking sideways. When it ices, a bunch fall over. They've gotten big enough, and there's a power line that runs right there. So every year, they cut everything 20 feet back from the road to prevent that. And they came through, and whoever was running the saw that day, he cut all the way up the cliff. And I suppose those trees up top could have fallen. Had they fallen that direction, they would have taken them out also. Some of those trees were 60, 80 feet. So they cut all that shit down, and it was the pine trees there. On the inside of that is a bunch of oak trees. Now, we pulled a bunch of shit out of there. It used to be very, very dense. Because the pine trees were there as a windbreak and a sound barrier, we thinned out the stuff on top so we had more usable land right there. Well, it kind of bit us. I'm going to go and back plant all that we did. We put a bunch of pine. I've got a bunch more pine coming. And I'm going to put bamboo on that roadside right there. Like, that they won't ever get rid of that shit.
John's saying that it was that it's a cliff. It is a cliff. But then 2 days after they fucking went through there and John drove by that hill like 2 times, he's like,
It looks like shit. It still looks like shit.
I really want all those pine trees to run through the wood chipper. So we spent 3 days out there.
We literally had to fucking tie rope from the top.
3 days out there while I'm fucking trying to cut these fucking things into pieces.
You had to tie rope from the top and rappel or walk down on the rope. We didn't really rappel. We just kind of, used the rope.
The worst part was
that the trees were too big to just like maneuver and get them to fall down.
The worst part was not the cliff. Like, so I was up there with my Makita chainsaw cutting away. The worst part was the 2 guys that were down on the ground crew, because, we got a trailer, we put the fucking shit on there. The medium, or what do you call it? It's not the medium.
Shoulder.
The shoulder on that thing is only like maybe 8 feet, maybe 8 feet, and those fucking trucks go through there so fucking fast, man. If you're not paying attention, they'd suck you right underneath that truck. I felt sorry for those guys. That was pretty dangerous, actually.
We didn't even get 10% of that cleaned up.
No,
they were just, and they're stuck. The wood's stuck there. Really, we should just light it on fire and let it burn down. It's just laying dead wood right there. But it's all there and it looks like shit. A dude did have a good idea though. Somebody emailed me about it or something. Maybe it's in the comments later in here. They have some wildflower mats. You get these big rolls and you just roll them out. You spike them, roll them out. When the water hits them, they just fucking grow.
Of wildflowers.
Mm-hmm.
Huh, that sounds cool.
They'll grow anywhere.
Tell me where you get them.
They just come through, cut them. They just come through and cut them, spray everything along the road because there are power lines right there, so they can't fall over during ice storms and take out the power. Love the podcast, Skully. I was scheduled to get my knee replacement in September. I have a bone on bone in my right knee. I have found some doctors that are doing mesenchymal stem cell injections and have opted to try that first. I have been putting off the knee replacement because I am young and they wear out and they can't guarantee a second one. Looks promising. I'm having treatment at the end of the month, and the stem cells should have a few layers of cartilage laid down by mid-July. The injection costs $5,500, about a tenth of the knee replacement, which I think is why the FDA is coming out with new treatment guidelines for stem cell therapy next year. At this point, it looks like the FDA is really going to rein in these treatments. I'll let you know how it turns out. P.S. Mel Gibson's dad is still kicking. Right on. Yeah, why would the FDA give a fuck about the stem cells? I haven't heard anything negative about them.
Well, maybe if the FDA is getting involved, it's because they're probably getting complaints of people getting injections of stuff that's not stem cells. Because if it's not regulated, there's some fucking shiesty doctors out there that'll fucking do shiesty shit.
Man, there's too much fucking big pharma shit out there.
Not to do shiesty shit.
It's cutting into there.
Yeah, I would say wait, especially if you're young, wait for a knee replacement. Take it out as long as you can because it's going to come a point where they're just going to be like, oh, I can't believe we were even replacing knees. All we really need to do is whap, whap, whap. And then you're going to be like, oh, I'm bionic again. My doctor gave me a choice too of some purple goo injection. Is the way he explained it, but there's an injection that you can get that goes between the knee that is supposed to be like cartilage, but it doesn't last long. So he was like, yeah, we can do this injection. You just come in here every 2 weeks and we inject this stuff in there. And I'm like, for how long? And he's like, usually it takes about 9 months. And then I'm like, okay, so for every 2 weeks, I got to come in here and get this shit gooped into my knee for 9 months. And then I'm like, how long does it last? He goes, it lasts about 9 months. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. First off, I'm like, my boss would never let me come take a day off to come here and get injections every goddamn 2 weeks. That's crazy. But there's other stuff out there. And, like I said, the technology's moving so fast that, man, I would be hard pressed unless you were completely immobile to replace anything right now. Because, there's so many doctors, hip replacement, like, there's probably, I'll bet there's, I don't know, 10,000 doctors in the country that are just like, you got that hip, that titanium hip, and they're just like, whap, 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 boom, 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 got it, finished. But then there's probably some technology that is more cutting edge than a hip replacement that they're just not, they're like, I can do this so well, why would I fuck around with that? So I would let it go as long as you can, basically what I'm saying. Go as long as you can, because that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for the bionic exoskeleton. The Marine Corps is testing these exoskeletons, and I'm waiting for those to go to Dermo, and then I'll get one and fucking, I'll be good to go again.
Skully, did you get the opportunity to attend any of the ninja courses offered by Mountain Warfare Training Center, i.e. horsemanship and over the snow vehicle training? What is that, Bridgeport he's talking about?
Yeah, that's Bridgeport. No, I didn't do any of those. I did have a...
Malenik was an instructor.
I did have the last platoon I had in Iraq one of my snipers was a farrier. He was up in Bridgeport, and they sent him to farrier school so he could shoe the donkeys and mules that they have at fucking Bridgeport. Bridgeport, by the way, is the last place in the military, in all of military service, that still uses donkeys and mules. So he went to farrier school. He's out of the Marine Corps now, and he lives up in fucking Bridgeport, and that's what he does. He's got his own ranch and everything, and he's out there doing it. So he actually got a school that he turned into money in the real world. I unfortunately did no schools that turn into money in the real world unless I worked for the cartel.
For the Akron guy, congrats on getting out and improving your circumstances. Your kids and future generation will thank you for it. John, you've got to see the coins this guy is making. Coins with booby traps in them. Wow. I fully believe in abortion, but the child should be 16 years old before the parents make their decision. Where in the U.S. would you go to work if you were a software developer? Fuck, who knows? Why would I? That's a valuable job. I'm not laughing at you.
Silicon Valley. You gotta go fucking San Francisco. That's where the money is, and that's where those kind of jobs are.
Let me just say,
if
you're a software developer, and you're asking us, you need a different job. You need a different career. Where is the Yeah, we just did that one. Daniel Marshall. Cake. Maybe it's cakes. Your insides with all the sugar. I've been on days for a few weeks, and I was training for a new machine the company has got. I'm now back on nights. This is my first week back on nights. Nearly crashed my car on the way home this morning, so I'll be getting to bed and catch up with this video later. Just for your consideration regarding the Tower 7 carry-on, I believe it was a federal building, or at least most of the tenants were federal. To that end, is it a big stretch of your imagination to think the building could have been pre-rigged for demolition as a precaution for such things happening? As you have said before, sure as eggs is eggs, the government has a plan for most things.
Not that. They don't have a plan for that. You're talking about an amount of explosives. You're talking about an amount of explosives necessary to put in that you wouldn't. There's no building that has been rigged to blow up where you would walk into it and go, "Oh yeah, this looks like a place to work." There's too much involved in it. Plus, what are we talking about? Are we talking about a military explosive? Or are we talking about a civilian explosive? Military explosives are very user friendly, meaning I can take a block of TNT and I can throw it against the wall and nothing's going to happen. It's the blasting caps that are ultra sensitive for military explosives. So for me to have a building with, Building 7's pretty big. I'll bet in order for you to detonate that explosive, you would probably have to have somewhere in the nature of 10,000 blasting caps in there. 10,000 military blasting caps are very sensitive. They're sensitive not only to the conditions, but also to electricity. So you really couldn't use a military blasting cap. So you probably have to go to civilian explosives.
Maybe they did it all no-no.
You couldn't do it all no-no. You'd still need blasting caps because of the type of explosives you'd have to use to get through.
But it wouldn't be electric blasting caps.
Yeah, but it would still be.
It's not electric. You'd have to.
But military. But military blasting caps are more sensitive. The difference is.
You'd have 5,000 miles of fucking.
The difference between military explosives and civilian explosives is the way the military wanted it. Is they wanted to be able to put a bunch of explosives on the back of a 5-ton, like a whole truck of explosives, and drive down the road and fucking crash the 5-ton and be able to go pick up all those explosives and go put them on something. And then they wanted to carry those blasting caps in an eggshell container and be like... Because the blasting caps obviously are small. They come in these hard cases and shit. So the blasting caps are more sensitive.
It's 10 in a case, isn't it?
Yeah, it's opposite for civilian explosives. The explosives are more sensitive and the blasting caps are more robust. So there's a whole host of problems with saying that the building was rigged for explosives. Not to mention the fucking minions... Not to mention the minions that it would require to do it. And people talk. So, I know the dudes, like realistically, I know the dudes that would have been tasked to do that. I know them. Personally know them. I know their kids. I guarantee you, without any hesitation, if there was even a fucking whisper of those fucking ninjas of the Army of Northern Virginia doing anything like that anywhere in the United States, I wouldn't be saying shit right now. I'd be like, yeah, I don't know anything about it. Because it didn't happen.
Watch 2 minutes of Fox News hosting Bernie's town hall. What a load of crap, along with the fake conservatives in the audience. Tuned in just in time to hear Bernie droning on about how great the medical care is in the U.S. military, which is true. What Bernie and the audience doesn't get is that the Veterans Care, VA, is what we will all get if the government takes over health care. The VA loves to play games with vets, such as if
you have tinnitus.
Yeah, that's not what he said. If you have tinnitus and say you have a continuous buzzing in your ears, you will be designated a 0% rating. And if you say you have a ringing, you get rated 10 to 12, 15%. By the way, you will never convince flat earthers that the earth is a sphere, no matter how much science you use.
We have the Flat Earth Society put out a thing. We have members all over the globe.
Every podcast someone guesses at 503. I still find it hard to believe they don't know the meaning of it. Skully, what's the deal with the Benelli M1014? Is it common for the military to use shotgun, or is it just some specialized weapon? Are there dudes running around with full-size shotguns?
So it's very specific. It's a very specific weapon, and yes, the military is issuing out those guns. So I had one, and I carried one for fucking 15 minutes in Iraq because I was just like, they're like, hey, here's the shotgun, you guys got to use it. Here's the real jits for the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps does not have an allocation of any real ammunition for those shotguns. Infantry battalions are only allocated birdshot. That's it. So those shotguns, when you go wherever, you've got birdshot. There's no double-aught buck. There's no fucking ninja bullets. It's just birdshot. Usually when you see a unit like the Force Recon guys or something like that, they're getting special allocations of double-aught buck ammunition that's drawn for them specifically. But the infantry battalions, the only Dodic number they have is for birdshot. So all we had was birdshot when we went to fucking Iraq, and they gave us these fucking $15,000 shotguns to shoot birdshot through. The reason why, which you may or may not know, is because in World War II on Guadalcanal, there became this issue where we thought the Japanese were using birds to send messages. So the Marine Corps, in their great wisdom, are like, all right, the Japanese are using birds, kill all the birds. So every island, this is true, every island that we went to, there was dudes with shotguns just walking around shooting birds. And we would wipe out whole bird populations because we thought the Japanese were using them to send messages. I don't think they ever...
There'd be more trouble over killing birds than to kill the fucking Indians.
Yeah. So we only have birdshot in our inventories. It's, they do have the weapons company guys will have guys that'll go to breacher school, and that's what the shotguns are really for, so those guys can breach doors and shit and be cool. But once again, when they fucking put the ammunition in there, it's just birdshot. So kind of a waste. I got a picture of me with the fucking Benelli shotgun with a PAS 13 on it because I'm like, this is how ridiculous the war is over here. I tried to get as much useless shit that they were issuing out as I could. But it's a good shotgun. I have one. I bought one here, and
So is it an M4?
Yeah, it's the Benelli. We call it the Benelli M4, but that is the civilian. What do we call the M110? That's like the 1014. That's the civilian version of it. We call it the Benelli M4, or we call it the M4 shotgun because that's just the designation the military gave it.
We'll do the last one. We're over 90 minutes right now. The last one I'm going to do. Happy Easter. Jesus Christ died for you and rose again. He is the only one who forgives sin. Trust in Him and live.
Is that Grey Wolf?
Let me know.
Oh.
let me tell you something, Zip Roar. This better not be the only fucking comment you made. I don't care what you believe, but if you're not interjecting other shit, save your bullshit. I say this. The only reason I even read that is because we have an Easter sale that's about to happen. By the time you hear this, email will go out Thursday. Watch for it. Participate in it. That's the only reason I even read this guy's shit. If you come on here and quote scripture that doesn't have something specifically to say with what we said, we're cutting you out. Like, I don't care what you believe, man. It might even be the exact same thing fucking we believe. But if you don't hear us doing it, don't fucking interject your bullshit here. Fucking save it.
What do you think if Jesus Christ, if he could come back today, if he comes back on Easter and he's like, I'm back, bitches, and saw what we were doing to celebrate Easter, what do you think the Lord and Savior would be like? The fuck are you doing with those eggs? What's going on here? I think he'd be very confused.
Ben had a good idea, Mookie. He's gonna have a nighttime Easter egg hunt with night vision.
Yeah, I love it.
And have Op 4.
I love it.
We could actually do that. Maybe we should start doing it.
I feel like we should steal that from Ben.
Well, Bill, he can come to ours. He can do his own. I mean,
No,
he's in
I think
Florida.
we should-
Who the fuck's gonna? People coming from California are gonna stop in Tennessee before Florida.
I think we should just steal
I think
it
it's
from
a great idea. We could do Op 4. We could do fucking night vision Easter egg hunts. The kids can go out and find Easter eggs, and we can have Op 4 out there, or Op 4 Nerf guns, or fucking whatever, airsoft, whatever.
Op 4.
We could do all that shit.
So the kids get night vision to go look for the eggs, and the Op 4 gets no night vision.
Well, that's not as fun. Cause
That is as fun. That's just as fun, because they can avoid, and you have to fucking actually hunt them down. Because what are you going to do? If everybody has night vision and then half of them have guns, the guys with the guns are going to win every time.
What are we going to shoot them with?
I like the Nerf. I think we bring...
Nerf?
I think, what's his name?
Do we get to bring in Drake?
I think we bring in Drake. We bring in Drake,
Lord
have him
Drac.
bring up all his shit.
Lord Drac.
We just fucking fire up with the Nerf guns.
If you guys don't know who Lord Drac is, look him up on Instagram. Good dude, doing real shit. Cool dude. We see him every year at Blade Show. I know he's done a couple things here and there with Mookie. Lord Drac, check him out. Do we get to capture them?
Like what, in a net or something?
I've always wanted one of those.
Well, you just
What was that movie with
depends on how you step up your game.
Stifler was in it? And they caught him, and he's hanging up in a tree, and this little dude comes out and just starts beating him up. Little Thai guy, little.
Oh yeah,
kickboxer.
that's the
the runaway with the rock in it.
Yeah, that's the one with the rock in it. Yeah, where they kick his ass. Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
We could capture them and just put them in super kit bags. At the end of the night, we'll just have all the kids fucking
in super kit
in a row in super kit bags, and then we'll sell them back to the parents.
Sell them back
if they want them. Otherwise, we keep them, raise them, and we have labor. All right, guys, we'll finish this up tomorrow.
All right.
Man, I'm hungry.
Peace out.